Since the beginning of time, the age-long argument has been whether man gets to control his future or not. The answer is yes and no. Man gets to control his future by the choices he makes. As an individual, a third party can alter the future of another man by changing his choice slightly. Even if a choice is made a few minutes or a few seconds earlier, this results in a whole new story for the individual and the people who his choice affects. I am one of the watchers, MissedThePart. Join me as we search the multiverse to see how one man's choice can completely change another man's life trajectory. Anything can kickstart a new story in the multiverse. Nothing is too big and nothing is too small. In Miles Morales' story, it was rather a small thing, a growling stomach. The boy's metabolism rate was much faster, and this kickstarted a whole new tale. Follow me as we watch one more time. Miles knew there was something wrong with the weird counterpart he discovered, where his uncle and he used to hang out. His gut feeling could not justify what he saw. It was Spider-Man, and there was more. Spider-Man was supposedly involved in a fight with Green Goblin and the Prowler. Miles knew that he would later brag about this story later on in life, but right now all he felt was fear. As the fear engulfed in his stomach, it growled. This immediately caught the attention of Green Goblin and Spider-Man, who were battling it out. Green Goblin immediately threw a bomb at the location of the dark figure he saw, and Spider-Man dived to intercept it. The explosion knocked him out. When the villains went to investigate, they found nobody, but the Prowler caught sight of the intruder's sneakers and clothes. He knew it was Miles and shrugged it off as the thought of what could have happened to him if he had been caught. He would have had to set ground rules after visiting hours the next time he met the boy. With a sudden lurch, the particular collider brought forth Kingpin's wife and son. He suddenly beamed at them, but the smile on his face was wiped off clean when they collapsed at their entrance. After they were both fit into a life-regenerated machine, Dr. Olivia Octavius began researching with their blood samples of the cause of them fainting. When she discovered the reason for their rapidly deteriorating health, she gulped. Kingpin would not like this, she thought. Olivia was right. Kingpin didn't like it at all. She was currently being choked by him. She had just told him the truth. Mr. Fisk's wife and son would degenerate until they die, because their cellular buildup was not meant for this dimension. The news made Kingpin greatly mad, and she could understand. After the death of his wife and child, he stopped at nothing to get them back. He had spent a lot of money in funding Alchemax to poach them for another universe. All the time and money wasted, and he got this. He had every right to get mad. Dr. Olivia suddenly got an idea before all life was drained out of her. She signaled Risk about it when she was gasping. When he finally let her go, she spurled all of it out to him. After telling them about her plans to Kingpin, he ordered her to act immediately. She had deduced that they needed to use any individual of this universe who had a regenerative power and transfer it into both Fisk's wife and son. Luckily for them, they had the perfect candidate. Spider-Man lay tied down to the machine that would be used to transfer his regenerative genes to Mr. Fisk's wife and son. The recipients of Kingpin's family lay in a cocoon-shaped chamber of the machine. It was time. Dr. Olivia pressed the button to kickstart the operation. The operation was a success, or so Olivia thought. Spider-Man's body had been completely stripped of all of his powers, while Kingpin's spouse and son got healthier and much stronger. They were let out of their pods and they were quite elated to see Mr. Fisk. Kingpin had strictly ordered that only a version of his spouse and child were the only ones sent here, and that no more variants should be brought into this universe. While they celebrated, Dr. Olivia discovered a complication, rubbing her neck. She decided that she would let it stay for now before telling Kingpin. She was not yet ready to have another close brush of death. Miles Morales, who discovered that Spider-Man was Peter Parker when he saw his face after the explosion, tore most of his suit away, searched for his family members. Miles discovered Peter's aunt's home, and when he visited the house, he saw Mary Jane with her. After he relayed every single incident to them, they took him to Peter's lab. They took him to Peter's suit laboratory and started training him with the help of Peter's notes. Mary Jane and Aunt May had so much hope in Miles to rescue Peter from Kingpin, and he picked up the lessons very fast. Within days, he had acquired the grace and perception of Spider-Man. Miles had taken his leap of faith this way, and because of this, he had a strong belief that Mary Jane and Aunt May had it in him. He was ready, or so he thought he was, to be Spider-Man. Fate seemed to have been in favor of Dr. Olivia when she had told Kingpin about the need for another regenerative human to finalize the genetic code of his wife and son. He was about to strangle her until the news came out that there was another Spider-Man in town. They were labeling him as the black-suited Spider-Man because of his suit. It almost looked like the original Ultimate Spider-Man suit. Kingpin had ordered her to gather the boys to go and capture him. They would use him to complete the experiment. Prowler had a very brief scuffle with Spider-Man, and the kid was sort of inexperienced in fighting, but Prowler let him get away while he waited for backup. One thing he learned in fighting was never to underestimate a fighter who did not know his strength yet, so he just put a micro tracker on his suit and let him swing away. All he had to do now was to wait. What Prowler saw on his computer sounded unbelievable to him, but it made complete sense. Miles Morales, his nephew, was Spider-Man. He figured it out when he tracked the suit on his brother's house, later to the college dorm Miles went to. Prowler quickly infiltrated the self-destruct button on the tracker and lied to Green Goblin, Dr. Olivia, and the others about Miles discovering the tracker. He had to get to Miles and fast. He would not be able to live without him if something bad had happened to the kid. Prowler, or Uncle Aaron to Miles, had met Miles at Aunt May's house when he revealed his identity and the state of Peter to them. He and Miles were quickly dispatched to rescue Peter Parker. They quickly took off to the facility to rescue Parker and put an end to Fisk's madness. Dr. Olivia Octavius and the other hired men of Mr. Fisk laid at the feet of the Prowler and Spider-Man. It turned out that Miles' invincibility and Venom Strike powers were perfect for infiltrating a secret and heavily guarded facility. Time for Fisk to pay. They agreed as they marched on into the facility. Kingpin quickly gathered his family to escape the facility with them, but he heard the alarms go off. As he led them on to a secret passage to escape with them, he was injected with a paralyzing liquid from behind. It was his wife. She confessed that she was the one that killed Mr. Fisk in her dimension to take over the crime business. She also thanked him for the regenerative powers and the ability to travel to both dimensions, as it would enable her to expand her crime business and influence. She had already stole the blueprints from the particle collider from the lab, and when she got to her dimension, she would build an even badder and an upgraded version of it. Mr. Fisk was in shock, but his facial muscles could not show. He was even in greater shock when his wife gave his son a gun to pull the trigger on him. His son pointed the gun at his face and he did not hesitate. When Miles arrived, he discovered Mr. Fisk's wife escaping with her son through the particle collider to her dimension, and the machine already counted down the self-destruction. He quickly caught up with Uncle Aaron, who went to rescue Peter Parker. Aaron knew a secret and short passage out of the facility, and on their way, they saw the dead body of Fisk. They had just escaped the building when it exploded, lighting up the night sky. Supporting Peter's weight amongst themselves, they escaped into the night and missed the sirens of the fire. Safely, the ambulance and the police came, and the collider was destroyed, and Peter Parker was saved. That is going to be What If Kingpin had successfully brought his family into the Spider-Verse. What did you guys think of this Marvel's What If of Season 1, Episode 12? If you guys do enjoy these videos and want to stay all up to date with the latest content, do make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn those notifications on so you and your friends are all up to date with the latest content. Anyways, as always guys, thanks for tuning in and have a fantastic day.